So, sitting here with our director of cloud technologies, Corey Beck, and one of the things that we always talk about, and we're going back and forth with, is kind of what are some of the challenges that are keeping IT leaders up at night, especially around cost around their public cloud environments, whether it's AWS, Azure, OCI, Google, whatever it might be. What do you think some of the challenges are that IT leaders are having today versus maybe what they were having when they first went down and embarked on this journey.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, right? I think where we face a lot is we find that it starts with that cloud sprawl, right? And spend, you set up an environment intended for one use case, right? Becomes used for two or three, or it starts to get a lot of usage, and you don't then understand or keep up with the metrics on it, and you either aren't tuning it properly, so then you're just oversizing it, so you're not having issues with the environment, or you start to inherit tech debt after that environment's been up there running for 2 3 4 years, etc., and not really being maintained either. So I think those are some of the big areas that and then we can step in and really help with that, to where we understand that workload, and then start to understand those patterns, so that we can not only tune it from maybe the database or application level, but then right size that environment, whether it be automation for peak usage, or,
Hmm.
or just really optimizing that query at the end of the database, that helps you then minimize the compute resources in general.
Yeah, and one of the other things too that I've found, just talking to IT executives and traveling around the country is during COVID and pre-COVID, a lot of organizations had spent a tremendous amount of money on the infrastructure and moving and migrating to the cloud. And what they've done is they've built these large public cloud environments, but now that there's a little bit of a change maybe in the economy and the economics within business, facing some of these geopolitical type activities that we're facing around the world, and people being a little bit more skittish. um, we as DataStrike have found that we can come in and help them from a fractional standpoint,
Right.
to where they don't have to have and keep the overhead that they had to invest in for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. That takes that worry off of their back,
Exactly.
because we can bring that fractional support in multiple disciplines, whether it be the database discipline within the AWS environment, the actual AWS active
Yep.
management, or the Azure active management. We can provide that level of talent.
Right. Yeah, and two, when you think of that, right, they perform that migration. A lot of times it's in a hurry, right? You're at the end of a data center lease, or co-location lease, it right. So you're doing more of like a lift and shift type of migration. So you're not really getting the cloud benefits in that kind of situation either. And then usually it's on to the next project, right?
Sure.
So you don't even go into the steps of optimization, modernization of that environment, and then it just becomes, it sits there and runs, and kind of runs like it did on prem, and
Yep.
then you're not gaining any of those benefits. And then two, you often don't have the resources to do those steps and phases, so it often gets really overlooked.
And then you still have the mundane activities to keep the lights on a
Right.
daily basis, on top of the project level work that you need to maintain to keep that environment up and running. So it's a huge challenge, I
Yep.
know, for IT leaders. I know that the service that we offer from our fractional delivery support model covers all angles of
Right.
that for them, which puts gives them a big peace of mind.
Exactly.
For sure.
Agreed.